What will be Tennessee's return on investment this season? Will Joey Aguilar lead the Volunteers to 10 wins? Will the unproven talent across the roster rise to the occasion? There's so many unknowns, but it all starts to reveal itself Saturday at noon in Atlanta against Syracuse. And what better way to start your weekend than here live from Harper Volkswagen on a beautiful Friday morning? And aren't you glad it's Light Ball with Paige Dower and Todd Kelly Jr.?
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dower and Todd Kelly Jr.
Todd, we're so happy to have you be a part of the show. Todd's probably your dad, so we'll get to TK.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's a blessing to be here. Super excited for the season.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for it to get started, and I feel like just a couple of months ago we were just like, oh, it's so slow, dead of summer, and now we're getting ready for the season to like officially kick off.
Oh yeah, and it feels like football season.
Yeah.
You know, the sun is up, it's clear skies, it's not 95 degrees anymore.
No.
It's crisp, cool, and so excited for the Vols this season.
And you mentioned you're going to be heading down to Atlanta yourself, so maybe you're kind of already in like this game day feel back if we go back to like the 2014s when you were a defensive back for Tennessee. What can you remember about this week, being on campus, going to the classrooms? Like, what was the energy like during that time?
Oh, energy was outstanding. Butterflies were out of control. You know, I was less focused on what I had to do school-wise, academically-wise, and all getting on that football field. So we opened up with Utah State, which was a home game, but having a neutral game, I remember opening up with that, and it's just a different feel. You know, everybody's ready. You're almost tired of hitting your offense. You know, you want to hit somebody in a different color, and what better way to do it than hit somebody else in a different color orange.
Yeah, in the wrong shade of orange,
That's
right?
That's right.
Well, when we look to Syracuse as itself, and maybe if it was the team of last year that ended up being a 10-3 win team, would you say that this is probably the biggest game over the last handful of years, maybe even when you were a senior going up against, I think it was then number 17, West Virginia?
The best of us, beat us pretty bad in Charlotte. Will Greer was their quarterback, and I actually played against Will Greer when he was at Florida when they beat us on that 4th and long. So I would say that was a really, really big game, but this doesn't fall far from behind. No. Playing in the Aflac game, prime time, you know, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I think it's going to be a great game and a great opportunity for us to put our, you know, work on the map.
I also think because it's a Power 4 team and maybe because it is in Atlanta, maybe helps like bolster the big energy that you could feel from it. Because I guess maybe if you look to opponents, maybe it's South Carolina when it was the COVID season and that was the first game of the year, and they did not get the best of you like the 2018 time.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, SEC versus ACC with Syracuse being there, and just the shifts from all the league. You know, it's a good opportunity for Tennessee to show a staple of why they are considered, you know, one of the best teams in the SEC, and Hypo continues to grow and have good years, but we just need to get over that hump, and this is one way to show the country that, you know, hey, you know, under Aguilar leading, we can do it.
How big of a deal is it to be playing in an NFL stadium to open up the season?
I think it's such a great opportunity, you know, Paige, and a lot of these guys that play for the Tennessee Vols are from which is a guy that I'll, you know, talk about later in the show. But it's a good opportunity for them to go back home and, you know, invite their friends, family, and what better place to do it than in Atlanta. You know, you just hit the interstate and get there in about 3 hours, depending on how fast you drive and how much traffic you miss. But we're excited to get down there and support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up in just a second, we'll talk key matchups, maybe looking a little bit at Joey Aguilar, Mike Matthews. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
Business can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.
Welcome Welcome back into Live Ball with Paige Dower and TK. We are going to get into our key matchups, which I think might be one of our more favorite parts, but we also have like a brand new segment coming up at the end, so certainly make sure you stay tuned for that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So when we look to matchups for Tennessee versus Syracuse, I think you obviously have to start with the head guy and Joey Aguilar and just the pressure that maybe he will feel heading into this game. And I think the matchup you'll look for is Joey Aguilar versus the Syracuse pressure and blitz. But TK, maybe even just like the pressure of being the number one, starting quarterback for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret how much money we're paying on the plate for 1 year, right? And, he has a big shoes to fill. Whether it was Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, everybody's saying, hey, he's better than Nico, so his time's now. What better way to do it? Game one with the show, at noon. One of the first games on a Saturday in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and he has a great opportunity to show that.
I think so, too, and I think if we could do like an over-under, like I'll put $10 on it that the broadcast team will talk about his 2024 season with all the interceptions that he threw, but I think they'll do that without the context of the fact he didn't have his top 2 wide receivers. He didn't have 3 of his starting offensive linemen, the starting running back, and the tight end room. But then I think when you look to what Tennessee does have, I don't think he will press as much when it's looking to something downfield because of how Tennessee uses the running back room and uses the tight end room in the passing receiving game.
I agree. And Paige, if he throws an interception every game, guess what? I'm going to say, you know what? He's still taking risks because he's going to throw an interception maybe for taking a risk, but then he's also going to throw a touchdown, right, instead of patting the ball and taking a sack. So I like the energy. I like his charisma. I like the way he leads the quarterback room as well as the offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does that on the field. Yeah,
it kind of flashed me back to when he had his media availability earlier this week, and before he even started playing at JUCO, he told us that he took some time off and revealed that he was going to start taking classes to be a firefighter. So I'm like, okay, if he was ready to go save people from like a burning building, save a kitten from a tree, I think he can handle like an otherwise depleted Syracuse defense.
Yeah, I love that. He's ready to run into the fire, and that's going to be tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. That just shows you how confident he is, Yeah,
and I think a lot of the time, too, when you look at that quarterback position, it's all about having, like, that it factor. I think there was something that was resurfacing on social media about, like, Joe Burrow. Like, he doesn't, like, his heart rate doesn't change depending on, like, the situation. And I think that's what we're really seeing out of Joey Aguilar. I mean, Josh Heupel talks all the time about how, like, comfortable, confident, in control he is. And I think that'll tell you, like, if there are certain situations, or maybe it's a 3rd and long, and maybe you're near midfield, he can maybe handle those situations.
Yeah, and when you look at the depth chart and you look at kind of, how he's listed, he's not the tallest, he's not the biggest, but sounds like he has heart, and I think everybody wants to see that in a quarterback. So hopefully he has ice in his veins, and we see that he's calm, cool, collected, no matter what the situation is.
And before we get to my second matchup, let's head over to your first matchup when you're looking at Tennessee versus Syracuse.
Yeah, so, to complement Joey Aguilar is the running game. Having Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, kind of that 3-headed monster versus the Syracuse run defense. Syracuse gave up, close to 5 yards a rush, which we averaged last year. So if you do the math, it's 1st and 10. You run the ball twice, that's a first down. So I think we'll rely heavily on our run game this year to complement Joey's pass game. But Syracuse run defense wasn't great. So I think, are they going to show up? Because if not, it's going to be a long, long day for the Orange.
And what I think is interesting, too, is when you do look to Syracuse and what they were able to do last year. I mean, their defense was 96th in the country last season. They were still giving up 26-some points as a total defense. So when you look to maybe the returning talent for Tennessee's running back room, like, I am so excited to see what Deshaun Bishop can do. I know that Darrell Sims, running backs coach, described Peyton Lewis as like a Greek god, the way his body is. But like, I think Deshaun Bishop needs a little bit more credit for that too.
Yeah, it was so funny. I went to the complex, and one of the advisors I work with, I took him with me, and he's like, "Who is that dude? He looks like Superman." I mean, he is jacked. Yeah. So between Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, and Star Thomas as well, who has a bunch of experience coming from Duke, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah, what do you think you like most about the way that Tennessee's utilized its running back room as that 3-headed monster? I know last year, obviously, Dylan Sampson kind of really took over, but it really is the standard to like kind of utilize all 3 of the guys in the room.
It is. It comes down to durability. Towards the end of the season, Dylan could barely run the ball. He was getting lick after lick.
He was injured,
And, I had a conversation with him. He was like, man, like my body's broken, and sure, he won SEC Offensive Player of the Year. We couldn't have made the college playoff without him. But it's better to have, 3 that you can rely heavily on so that, you can rotate them and keep them fresh.
I think the second matchup that I have is probably like the most interesting one that I could think of for this game.
Yeah.
And it's when you're kind of diving into a little bit for Syracuse and all the turnover that they do have. You look to that wide receiver room. It seems that the person that they're wanting to be like the guy is Jonte Cook. He actually was a 5-star freshman that started at Texas, had a brief appearance with Washington. I think it was reported that he was there for like 48 hours. So like hardly there. So maybe by way of Washington, Syracuse ends up getting Jonte Cook. And when you look to his 2023 season, like he has some really good versatility. I know he kind of lines up in the slot, or maybe he's all the way on the outside, but he's got great versatility. But I could tell freshman year he has a great ability to make some nice cuts. He's got good balance, good ball security. And I just think the guys that came in for Texas the next year, like Isaiah Bond, like maybe he just does want to be that guy, and you can do that at Syracuse. So I think with a maybe kind of injured defensive back room or secondary, like I think a lot of pressure will be put on them to stop Jonte Cook.
Yeah, and not having Jamon McCoy healthy. Thankfully, we have some reserves that are ready for the challenge. The defensive back room always gets challenged. I mean, even when I was there, we seem to be the weakness of the room. But you got to show up. And last year they showed up in tremendous fashion. And I think he's a receiver that they're going to put him anywhere they can to find a mismatch, whether it's in the slot or, overbalance on one side, or where they can get them, in the boundary, or just whatever they can do, maybe even a reverse to him. They're going to do things to put the ball in his hands, and it's on us to, one, make plays and also keep our focus on him.
If you could go back and like put your cleats back on, is it easier or harder when you know that like they've got one guy but he can be all over the field?
Yeah, it makes your job, a little easier, but at the same time, you can't let your guard down, because when you play Division I football, everybody's pretty good. But when you have one that's a total standout, you know where they are at all times, 100%.
Because I'm thinking like it could be a really great game for Ricky Gibson, which I kind of love his story too. Like you can go back to a couple of seasons ago, and he's like, you kind of just sometimes have to wait your turn. Like when you're ready, like the football will call you. Like you'll just know. So then obviously last season, him and Jamon McCoy were like the best tandem in all of college football.
Right.
And now I think a lot of the pressure's on him this season.
It is. You know what you're getting with Jamon, and Ricky's the type. He's quiet to himself, but so confident, and he's became a little more outspoken in the defensive back room, which is great. But you got to have confidence when you're on an island, and when the corner across from you is first-team All-American in whatever kind of classification they have or press that they have. You want to be up there too. So he doesn't want to drop the ball, and I think he's going to show why they're the best tandem in the country. Yeah,
because I still like it altered my brain chemistry or whatever when you go back to Alabama game and Jamon McCoy just absolutely steals the ball from Ryan Williams in the front pylon of the end zone. And I'm like, okay, those are the one-on-one matchups I live for, and I hope that they can do that this season.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And, I mean, that matchup's going to be great. But, I'm really, really relying on this defense. The D-line, the linebackers, obviously, but then the secondary. I think we're going to see what the secondary is about, and what better way to test them than going against the Syracuse pass-heavy offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what is your second matchup that ball fans should be paying attention to?
Yes, on the reciprocal fashion, we talked about Syracuse and their receiver versus our defensive backs. I think it's our young receivers going against young defensive backs for Syracuse. I started as a freshman, and I matured over time, and the game just goes so fast, right? And for our freshman and sophomore receivers, you've got Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, Travis Matthews Jr. Those guys are ready. They're competitors. And for this team that we're playing against, they've got young DBs. And so not only how are they going to play, but how are they going to communicate? How are they going to react? Because plays are going to be made. And when you're young, it's not what happened. It's kind of, you got to get over it, snap and clear mentality, and go to the next play. So I'm really curious to see what their chemistry looks like versus, our young guys. It's not if, but when they make plays.
Am I, or is the media, maybe blowing it out of proportion? Because I'm like, I think Josh Heupel's just going to have to do something he typically hasn't, and it is play young wide receivers.
Sure.
And that could be young because, like, Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley don't have a ton of reps from last season, or it could be, like, Rodarius Jackson, Travis Smith Jr. Yeah. Is that, like, a big turn in the program that Josh Heupel might do that, or are we just kind of blowing it out of proportion? Yeah,
well, you look at Rodarius Jackson, Travis Smith Jr., Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley. I mean, there's a reason why they're young and they're playing, right? We do have older guys on the roster, but, you want to play talent. And the only way you get stats is by getting out there. So they just haven't had the chance. So I think once we see just how talented they are and they get an opportunity, I really do think they'll answer the bell.
What was that first game that you started as a freshman? What was that like?
Oh, goodness. It was so it was actually at Oklahoma. It was an away game my freshman year, ABC at night. And it's similar to this game. It's a primetime game. And, those butterflies were still going. But once I got out there and got my first lick, I was ready to go.
Yeah, kind of just like in a flow state, as they say, just
That's
turn
right.
out the crowd
Locked
noise.
in, locked in.
All right, well, we'll have another VFL joining the show when we come back from this break. Make sure you stay tuned.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
Can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dower and Todd Kelly Jr.
In here last night, had a signee. He bought a car from you guys just a couple of weeks ago. What was it like having him in here? And I know you wear a ton of hats. Obviously, you're the general sales manager here at Harper Volkswagen. You were a former Tennessee tight end. You're also now the offensive coordinator at Webb School, where one TK went. Would you have liked playing for Chris Brown?
Oh, 100%.
You say that just because he's here?
110%. The way he runs that offense, and he has the experience, right? I mean, you got a coach that's done it before.
Yeah.
You're going to listen. And he loves those guys. I think the role model he is, the coach he is, they're excited when they're coached up by Coach Brown, the man.
I think it's funny, man. I've known TK since he was, like a little dude running around. And I remember watching him play at Webb, and I try to relate to some of these kids. He and I were talking off camera about that, just the process of where you are and what you're trying to do. And obviously, I think when you go to a school like that, it's setting you up for a lot of things beyond football. And I think TK is a great example of that.
What do you think you could have done on offense if you still had TK?
Oh, boy. Well, first of all, I would just give him the ball. I think that's
Smart man.
The thing in today's world is when you got a playmaker, you get him the ball and just get out of the way and let him overcome bad coaching.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I kind of think that's how they look at Miles Kisselman at Tennessee as well. Like, not only is he like this true leader on the team, but they want him to go and make plays. And honestly, Chris, I think if they could get back to, 2022 when they had Jacob Warren and Princeton Fant, I have been wanting that to come back for so long. And I think Kisselman can do that.
I think the tight end game, TK knows he plays safety. When you have a tight end that's dynamic and that can stretch the field and the defense really doesn't know what's happening, I think it changes everything. Kitchelman can ball. I'm looking for Ethan Davis to kind of step up and play a bigger role. I went to practice a couple weeks ago and watched him. He made a couple special plays, and our offense goes as the tight end goes, in my opinion. They're very multiple. They can motion, they can catch passes, they can be lead blockers, they can get back there and play fullback. So those guys need to step up, and I think you'll see the offense progress as they go. Kitchelman came on really, really, really well at the end of last year.
And I think on the teleconference with Josh Heupel or somewhere he mentioned that Kitzelman could be good to go. How important would that be on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the more people you can have that have been there before, TK,
right,
the more people that you can have that have that kind of experience. Obviously, he came from Alabama and he's been here for a few years. Everything helps when you're playing a game against a non-conference opponent in an NFL stadium. It's the first game of the year. You've had kind of some drama in the offseason with your quarterback. So the more people you can have, a little bit, the more people you can have that have been there before, I think it kind of calms the waters and are able to just kind of go out there and play fast.
Yeah, TK?
I agree. I mean, you'll see a lot of 2 tight end sets, I believe. When Ethan Davis came in, I'm like, this dude is athletic, and you watch him, he can dunk a basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So having an athletic tight end that can stretch the field, but also put their hands on you, when it's time to run the ball with the 3-headed monster that I mentioned before that we have, it'll be really exciting to see how we implement the tight ends this year.
So TK, as a safety playing back there, when you have tight ends that are multiple and you have them blocking one player, they're running screens the next player, they're stretching the field, running a deep over. How difficult is that as a defensive back when you have that, plus you have the receivers, and you're also knowing they're trying to run the ball? What are you looking for as a DB with those tight ends to kind of make sure that they're not getting open so people can kind of understand we're talking about how special the tight end position is?
Yeah, I think for me, it was big. We called them, a Y, so whether they were on or off the ball. I think a lot of times we're going to see them off the ball. I think they're going to be motioned a lot. Which means a lot of communication, which goes back to, Syracuse has young DBs. Yep. So how ready are they to shift, move, change, shift, have a hot route, things of that sort. But you think of a Brock Bowers, a Travis Kelce. Yep. You were built just like that when you were playing. You still are. You still keeping yourself right, but but man,
new segment.
That makes the game plan a headache because that's another receiver that's on the field. But you also know they're, in there to block. So as a safety, it's something that you prepare for on a consistent basis.
Who do you look forward to, Chris, in that tight end room to have the biggest game tomorrow?
Honestly, I think obviously Miles, if he plays, he's going to be a big part of it. I think Ethan Davis can be special. When you see him out there running his routes, obviously I didn't like the block very much either, so I get his pain having to go in there and block big guys. But I also think you have to be able to do that, right? You have to be able to be multiple. So I'm looking for Ethan Davis to really kind of step up and kind of see what he can do because he has a lot of potential, man. He has a lot of potential. His body looks, the way he looks out there is the prototypical NFL tight end, and he can run and stretch the field as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, thanks for joining the show.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
Can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dower and Todd Kelly Jr.
Welcome back into Live Ball. Paige Dower along TK, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Okay, so this is a segment that I thought if I was so super creative that it would be kind of fun. And I think, honestly, with Tennessee and Syracuse playing, it probably has the best pun and play on words, the orange versus orange. So we're going to call it the squeeze. So if you could think about an orange being squeezed. So who are we going to put the squeeze on? I'll have graphics here soon, so it'll make a lot more sense. But I think we can have some fun with it. Yeah. If we look to who I think Tennessee should put the squeeze on or who I think will have the squeeze, I'm going to look at Lance Hurd. One, because I think he'll have a breakout season this year at left tackle just because of how he's this whole offseason. We met with him the other day, and he says to me, like, it feels like a night and day difference, like the growth I was able to make last season. And I think at the time, maybe we really didn't even realize like how truly injured he was. So around this time last year, he had like knee surgery. Week 2 is a high ankle sprain. So the fact that he was even out there as much as he was, I think is a huge credit to how dedicated he is and really how talented he can be. And I think having that high ankle sprain, maybe that's why he wasn't able to get good pad level, right? Like how much can you bend at the angle? I'm not sure. And maybe he'll have better discipline at the line of scrimmage, so he's not getting these penalties, whether a false start or infraction, what have you. But I think for him and protecting Joey Aguilar, his blind side, I think that'll be huge in Tennessee's offense, being able to kind of elevate, especially in that first game.
Yeah, and he's focused on totally transforming his body, right? Not only is he getting healthy, but then it's saying, okay, what does a healthy size look like for me? How can I move? How can I create, my feet to move a little bit better for my agility, or pushing back to protect Joey Aguilar. So I think that's a great option. He's a dancing bear. He's a big old boy that has all the skills and talent to play on the next level. So I think he just had to get himself to the point where he was in shape and fit, and now he is. So it's time to go for him.
All right, TK, who are you putting the squeeze on?
Yeah, I am putting the squeeze on Mike Matthews.
Okay.
He's wearing his high school number now, number 4. He's going back home. He's from Georgia. So I think for him, this is a huge game. It's a huge season.
Yeah.
In Josh Heupel's offense, we always have that one premier receiver that you hear about that, is up in the ranks statistically nationally.
Yeah.
And I think he has the talent to do so. He's athletic. He's strong. He can go up and get the ball. He has very great hands. I just think he's the type that Aguilar can depend on, specifically for some of those at-risk throws that he takes, putting the ball up. I remember growing up as a UT fan, and you always had a receiver that could just go up and get the ball.
Yeah.
And Mike Matthews is the type, he's a 5-star for a reason, and I think that'll show this year.
Yeah, hopefully he can be the guy who's like, Mike Matthews down there somewhere.
Yeah.
And he can just throw it.
I'd love to see that, and I know Joey's going to take some shots here and there, and that's what's exciting about Aguilar. But for him to have that correlation, that camaraderie with Mike Matthews, I think that's what it's going to take in order for us to be successful.
You think Joey gets to Mike Matthews first?
It might be the tight ends. I might just say that because of Harper Volkswagen, so Chris can give the head nod. But I think we'll implement our tight ends a lot more than people realize. But he's going to make sure that he's looking at Mike Matthews a lot this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, TK, I appreciate you coming on. I'm excited to have you here all fall for the 14, hopefully 15-week schedule. They get a nice bowl game playoff appearance. So we can't wait to see you guys here next Friday, 8:30, live from Harper Volkswagen.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you guys next week.
Welcome to Live Ball, presented by Harper Volkswagen. Here are your hosts, Paige Dower and Todd Kelly Jr.
I'm VFL Chris Brown. Experience the VW brand proudly being produced in the great state of Tennessee. Harper Volkswagen is a proud partner of Tennessee Athletics. Go Vols.
Can't afford the downtime that comes with a leaky roof. So whether you need a repair or a replacement, count on the professionals from McGuire Roofing and Construction. Your protection is our passion. We service and sell all types of roofs and have worked with some of East Tennessee's most recognized names. We have 25 years of experience and free inspection estimates, plus best in business warranties. Put an end to your roofing problems today by calling McGuire Roofing and Construction.